Hey everyone, Craig Williams here, back with another video. In this video, I'm going to go through a couple of tracks and some tips and tricks for you guys to help with your transitions from either intro to the break to the drop and stuff like that. I've noticed a lot with the tracks the people are sending me on SoundCloud. They tend to have like a bunch of effects leading up to like a break or something, and then the sounds totally change and it sounds like a different track altogether, and there's no sort of cohesiveness in between the sections of the track, and it loses I get sort of lost in the track a little bit. It just sounds like a kind of a bad mashup or something like that. So I'm going to show you a couple of different things that I do, and hopefully you guys can sort of they're pretty simple, but when you sort of take a look at it, you'll realize what's going on and stuff like that. So this is a track that I did for the how to make the future techno stuff, and I'll show you. So this is the intro, the blue, and then obviously this is a break where it says break. So I'll play it. Just make sure get it all in there. Turn that up a bit. So you can see already that when the change comes to the break, that I still keep in a couple of the elements, including this acid bass, which is building up. These little riser little bits, and just bits and pieces like that. So if you carry over a couple of elements, it helps the transition become a lot smoother. Kept the hats in, introduced another element with that little bit there. So introduced something, taken a whole lot away, but we still kept a lot of the elements in there. This helps bridge the gap between the two sections instead of just having a total change of sound. Sometimes that can work, but I find most times if you keep a couple of elements in the changeover, it can really help it. See, and then there you go, we've kept this bass in that goes the whole way. Oh, not that one. That's a low bass. My mistake. This one here. So then all I've done there is just faded that up filtered it up so that the drop has more impact, but I've still kept, so you can see I've kept the hats between these two sections. I've kept this little synth between these two sections, and then the acid bass goes all the way through all the sections. The purple is just all effects, so yeah, that's runs through the whole track. And we can go down to the bridge section. So again, you can already see straight up that I've introduced this perk rise sound, and then that carries through, and that's the one element that carries through, as well as the acid bass sound that carries through here. So I'll play this section for you. You can hear that coming in now. Yeah, the sound really comes out now because we've dropped all the other elements. It's a nice smooth transition between, and then that comes all the way along, and then I start to introduce more elements for the build-up. You can see here, I've don't put the hats in. There's a couple of elements that I don't put in, but I keep the pattern fairly. It doesn't really travel too much. It's just kept in this one note heavily side chained. go. Obviously, most of you guys have already seen this track as it was getting built, so you kind of know what's going on. But they're just a couple of elements that I've chosen to carry on through different sections to keep the transitions nice and smooth. So when you're playing, it's not such a harsh transition between sounds. Next up, I'll show you another remix. I'll show you a remix that I did for a remix competition. You can see a different style of track, but still the same principles are used. Okay, welcome back. This is the next track I'm going to show you. It's a remix I did of Ty's track. It was for the Dim Mak remix competition. This track's going to come out for free. I think it's going to be featured on the Dim Mak website when the release comes out. I think it's sometime in August, so keep a lookout for that. Again, this is a sort of an electro tech, but not as techno as the last one, and more sort of the electro side. And I'll show you some of the elements. So as you can see here, we've got the intro section, and this is the first break. So already you can see that I've carried these percussion sounds over, and we'll just play the track so you can see what's going on. And I want to route that to the stereo. There we go. So you can hear that sound there is the one that carries over. Pretty predominant sort of sound, so I didn't need to sort of carry over too many sounds. And then you can hear there, it's fading that bass sound in there. Building up, building up, building up. And there you go, it's a nice smooth transition. I wanted the drop to have a bit more impact, so I've just kept it with the bass and the kick. So where are we? This one here. So that's how I've done that, but for the transition between the two here, I've kept a couple of elements carried over, so then it's a nice smooth transition, and it's not so harsh like I've seen in a bunch of the tracks. And for this one, I've sort of done something a little bit different. I've got a kind of a pre-break section, and it sort of breaks down each part and then goes into the full break here. So I'll play that for you, and you'll be able to hear that the transition is nice and smooth, and it like I've been saying. So the track sort of calms down a little bit more here. And this is where I start to introduce some of the original parts. So they're all coming in now, and the basses come out. So I've still kept the drums and stuff. Still carry the elements over and slowly take them away. But I've introduced these, so when I take the rest out, enough of the elements carry over. So it's a nice and smooth transition between the two. Run up in the discotheque, when I run up in the discotheque, when I run up in the discotheque. And then I just sort of build it up and then do another build in. Disco, disco,
Disco. Disco. Disco.
Nice little build section. And then again.
Disco.
Lose yourself.
So there you go. Like I've been saying through this whole tutorial, is just try and carry over a couple of elements to help the transition, to help bridge the gap between the two parts. Sometimes it is good to cut everything and totally have the change, but a lot of the times and a lot of the tracks that I'm getting, it's just the two sections don't fit together. You have this huge electro part, and then you have like these big Avicii sort of piano parts, and then there's no cohesiveness in between the two. So just think about that when you're doing your tracks, and try and get them just nice and smooth transitions. And I think that will help bring your tracks up a little bit more and make them sound a bit more professional, as opposed to, I've got this really cool idea for electro track and I've got this cool chord progression. I'm just going to just slam them both together and then hope for the best sort of thing. So hopefully you guys got something out of this, and you'll be able to use them and use these techniques in your own productions, and just think about your own productions just maybe in a different light, to sort of help you get to sort of the next level. That's it for now. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to head over to my Facebook page and give it a like, and when you do, you get a bunch of free massive presets. Also, don't forget to keep up to date on my SoundCloud. Always got new releases and stuff coming out, and I'm also on Twitter as well, which I update every now and then. And keep a lookout for this remix. Should be hopefully around August or something like that. Until next time, see you later.